So today's our main agenda is we will see how we can integrate. It's not about the Angular, it's not about the Spring Boot. I want to go a little bit generic manner. So first I want to go a little bit architectural manner, then I will go with a specific technology. So how you are going to be in any industry if you take, there is a two components you are having, that is a UI and a backend. So how this data processing will be happen from UI to backend. So how you are going to develop an application which can successfully persist your data, update your data, delete your data. So that's we will see now. So in the process of developing and in the process of the integration, your UI and the backend, we took a technology for a UI is the Angular UI application. We are developing with the Angular. And for a backend integration, we are taking something called as a Spring Boot we are going to be taking. So with this Spring Boot, we are developing an API. So with that API, we are going to be working how the integration will be happen from your Angular to Spring Boot. So Spring Boot, how it is going to be exposing the data to the Angular. So that's we will see. So let me give a overview what we are going to be developing today and how we are going to be leading this session. So what are the things you will get to know with this and what is the advantages you will get by attending this workshop. Let me increase a little bit of font size. Yeah. So my agenda is we want to develop a full-fledged application there. So from a UI to backend, we want to develop a full-fledged application instead of just taking something like a user management or some kind of CRUD application. Not like that. We'll go like a industry oriented. We'll take some approach like a product inventory management we will take. So we'll develop an application where I can see where all my products is available or not. So can I able to upgrade a product or integrate a product. So to see this product, do I require any kind of authentication? So we'll try to integrate some kind of a basic authentications. That's we will see. Ultimately, first we will develop an API with a Spring Boot. With this Spring Boot, we are going to be developing all APIs like inserting the data, updating the data, deleting the data, the entire CRUD APIs we are going to be developing. So backend, we are using the Spring Boot. And to persist this data, definitely we need a database. So that database, I'm taking something called as MySQL I'm going to be taking. So with this MySQL, I'm going to be persisting the data. So what are the data I want to store, that's I'm going to be storing in the MySQL. So, and from UI to present the user, from UI, I'm taking the Angular I'm going to be taking. So Angular will communicate with your Spring Boot application, and your Spring Boot application is going to be performing any kind of a data operations. So this data operations is going to be performed through your Spring Boot API. So that finally the data is going to be persisting in your MySQL. So the data, if you want to retrieve the data, you can retrieve the data from your MySQL, and Spring Boot is going to be perform that retrieving operation. Ultimately, the Spring Boot application expose the data to the Angular. Through Angular, you are going to be presenting the data to the user. If you take any application here, that might be e-commerce application or a banking application or might be any application, let me give a quick overview about how a industry architecture will help you. So if you take any project, that might be banking project, that might be healthcare domain, that might be e-commerce, that might be so on so, everything is depending upon the 3 P's only. 3 P's. It's not a triple R, it's a triple P. So what this the triple P stands for? The first P stands for persisting. Second P stands for processing. Third P stands for presentation. So these are the 3 P's available in your, if you take any project, so these are the 3 P's available: persisting, processing, presentation. What we will persist? The data. What we will process? The data. What will present? The data. So this is all about your, if you take any project, this is all about the core concept. So there is some data is there. We need to purchase the data. There is some data is there. We need to process the data. There is some data is there. We need to present the data. So persisting, processing, presentation. Guys, if you don't have any questions, please mute. Okay, let me do one thing. So here, three P's we are having. That is nothing but a persisting, processing, presentation. What we will present, what we will process, what we will present is ultimately the data you are going to be persisting, the data you are going to be processing, the data you are going to be presenting. So this is all about your, if you take any project, that might be e-commerce project, that might be a healthcare project, that might be any kind of a banking project. So there is some data is there. We need to persist the data. Persisting the data means permanently you are going to be storing the data. You need to process the data. For example, already data is there. I need to update the data, or I need to delete the data, or I need to insert the data. I need to process the data. So that's we are going to be using some technique. And presentation the data. So suppose I'm having some data is there. User want to see his data. So I need to present the data to the user. So might be his details, or might be based upon his level of access. I need to present this data. So everything I need to present that one. So these are the three things available. If you take any project, these are the three P's. So here also, to get an overall exposure about our end-to-end application implementation, so we are going to be doing this one. For a presentation, we are taking the Angular. For a processing, we are using a Spring Boot. Ultimately, to persist the data, I'm taking the MySQL I'm going to be taking. So this is today's agenda. So in today's agenda, I'm going to be persisting the data in the MySQL, processing the data through the Spring Boot, like any kind of a backend operation, updating the data, deleting the data. If you want to save the data, retrieve the data, everything I'm going to be performing through the Spring Boot. And ultimately, if I want to present the data, I'm using the Angular I'm going to be using. This is what today's agenda. Angular to Spring Boot, not only integration, Angular with the Spring Boot. So it's not the right terminology, Angular Spring Boot integration, Angular with the Spring Boot. So how you are going to be perform the operation with our Spring Boot, and how you can perform all those things. Okay. So let us quickly start about our our implementation, how we are going to be working, how we are going to be integrating with our Angular with the Spring Boot. That's we will see. Remember one thing, whenever you are developing any kind of application, if it is a scratch application, always start from the backend to front end, which means first to develop your API. So like, because based upon that data only, you are going to be designing your presentation. Suppose I'm having some user data. I'm having the username, some kind of a contact address, email address. Based upon that only, I will design my UI. So that's the reason always it's better to start from the back end to front end. So there's a two approaches is there. Suppose if it is scratch application, always starts from the back end to front end. First database design, then API design, then UI design. That is the proper approach. Suppose if it is a migration project, whenever you are having some kind of a migration project, so in a already project is there, one technology to another technology you are migrating. So to get a overall ideology about our migration, then we'll start from the front end to back end. Scratch application always will design from the database side. Migration project will always design from the UI side. So currently we are developing the scratch application. That's the reason I'm going to be starting from the backend side. So basically we need to design the database also, but we are using the comfort of the Spring Boot. So if you use the Spring Boot, you don't need to bother about the creating the tables, all those things. So here, what is the technologies I'm going to be using that to especially at the Spring Boot side? To develop an API, I'm using the Spring Boot REST API I'm using. To persist my data, to perform any kind of a database operation, I'm having a few choices. I can go for the Hibernate, or I can go for the ORM. One of the advanced concept and easy way to implement is the Spring Data I'm going to be using. So with this Spring Data, you can able to, it is a wrapper of your ORM. What are the features, everything offering from the Spring Boot, this data is going to buffer, but with a less way of a coding. Actually, it will follow the repository concept. Entire Spring Data is the three repositories: JPA repository, CRUD repository, paging and sorting repository. Based upon your requirement, you will pick a repository. That's it. You won't believe, within 15 minutes, you can develop an entire CRUD application. Let us say if I go for some kind of a Hibernate ORM, I need to take care about the configuration. I need to take care about the entity mappers. I need to take care about the session initiation. So I need to take care about all those things. But instead of this, I'm taking the Spring Data. Spring Data is one of the easy way to implement your database operation and auto configuration also. So that's where I'm using the Spring Data. And finally, coming to the Angular, for a presentation I'm going to be taking, and persisting MySQL I'm going to be taking. So based upon our time permit, if you have a little bit of good time and we have some time frame, then I will show Spring Security as well. So what is the place of the Spring Security? So with the basic authentication, or if possible, I will integrate the OAuth integration based upon our time frame. So because this is one of our session I planned, so based upon our time frame, if everything we have a sufficient time, so then at least I will show something called the Spring Security integration. So how you are going to be integrating the Spring Security, how you can achieve the authentication authorization, or at least I will try to give some sort of ideology about what is the authentication, what is the authorization, so how you can deal with this one. So that's why I'm going to be showing this one. So this Spring Security I'm not guaranteed based upon our time frame. So if you have a efficient time and you have a sufficient time, so then I'm going to be showing this Spring Security also. But these things are promise. So we are going to be developing an API by using the Spring Boot REST API and the Spring Data and the Angular integration we are going to be seeing. Obviously, MySQL we definitely need to know. So with that MySQL, I'm going to be persisting the data. So let us quickly start instead of without deep diving in a theoretical. So we'll deep dive in a practical segment. So let us quickly start.
So how many hours it may take? Just asking.
1.5 hours, not more than that. Because Sunday, I can't expect you guys people spend more time. 1.5 hours, max 1.5 hours. I will try to close by problem. 1 hour like that.
No problem.
Okay, so let me just
How many days this workshop is conducted?
Only 1 day. Only 1 day. Only today, 1 to 1.5 hour max. Why? Because this overall idea is, so my Angular students is there, Spring Boot students is there. I just promised them I'm going to be showing the end-to-end application implementation. So along with that, you guys also will get a benefit. Okay, so I'm using a Spring toolsuit. By the way, how many ways you can develop a Spring Boot application there? Spring Boot application, how many ways you can develop?
4 ways.
4 ways.
Initializer,
okay.
CLI.
Initializer, CLI. You can use the IDE also. So I'm just developing a Spring Boot starter. So you can just go here, file, new Spring starter project. Let me give us some project name. What I will do is, so here I want to develop a microservice, which is a product microservice. So I want to go for the microservice approach. Product service. So type, I want to take a Maven as a build tool, packaging jar, and the Java version is okay, and this is done. And my system version is 11 I'm having, so that's I'm taking the Java version 11. So let us do one thing. Let us say bootcamp is a group ID. Bootcamp dot product service. This is my package I'm taking. Next. And I'm just downgrading there. So 3.05 is not suitable for a Java, not that much suitable for the Java 11. I'm taking for something called as 2.7.10 I'm taking, which is the latest and a stable version, LTS version. So I need a dependencies. web dependency I'm taking, Spring Web. To perform any kind of a database operation, I need a Spring Data JPA. So this is Spring Data JPA I'm taking. So you can just scroll down. Spring Data JPA. You can see here, I got this data JPA. And along with this, I need to communicate with the MySQL. So if you want to communicate with the MySQL, I need that driver also, right? MySQL driver also. One good thing is Spring Boot installer itself providing the MySQL driver. I will take that one also. MySQL driver. I can just select this one. This is sufficient for us. So these are the three dependencies I'm using. One is the Spring Data JPA to perform any kind of a database operation. It's MySQL driver to communicate with my database, and Spring Web. So Spring Web is a dependency which will offer you the REST API implementation, embedded Tomcat, as well as it will give the auto configuration mechanism also. Everything is available in our Spring Web. So 2.7.10 version I took because this is a suitable version for my Java 11. So that's it. And next, everything looks good. Finish. It will take a little bit time. Meanwhile, what I will do is, so let me create a folder. Angular bootcamp I'm going to be creating. So parallelly, we'll develop an Angular project also. So here, let me take an Angular CLI. So what is the command to generate Angular project?
ng new project.
ng new
app name.
So what's the app name? Your choice.
Yes, our choice.
We are developing the product service.
The project name inside the system.
Okay. We are developing the product service, right? Can I keep a product management? My application name I'm keeping as a product management, or supply chain management also you can keep. That's your choice. So I'm just taking the product management is my application name. Product management or product inventory I will take. Make more professional. So I'm generating the project. So do we require a router or not?
Required.
So once it asks, we'll pick that one. So I need a router. Yes. And just a plain CS is sufficient for me. I don't want to go any SAS or less. Plain CS is sufficient for me. I'm just taking this one. So let us leave that. It is going to be download all our packages, and it will take care about the building the project. So now come back to our STS. Yes, our project service is developed. Now we'll develop our product API. So while you are developing any kind of product API, first starts from backend here. So backend means you need to start from the database design. So as because we are not specifically bothering about the database design, so the database design is nothing but you are going to be designing your entities you are going to be designing. So first try to design your entities. Then we will develop our controller services we will develop. How many of you are aware of the ORM, dear? Have you ever worked with the ORM?
Yes. Object relational mapping.
What is the purpose of the ORM?
It is a bridge between Java application and database.
We are creating of an object.
For mapping
Why I
This
need to do that
entity
one?
object inside the
It's an
database.
object relational mapping between the two entities.
Yeah,
Why I need to do that one first of all?
because you automatically created the tables in the database.
Rows and columns.
SQL queries are not portable across multiple DB softwares. ORM is the portable across multiple DB software.
That okay, that is the one interesting point. So there is another interesting point.
And there is
Independent.
there is some
If you are using ORM tool, the main use is there are no need of writing the queries manually. Internally using the MySQL dialect, it will take the queries, automated queries will be
It is a
generated.
bridge between the Java and MySQL.
Yeah. Sir, it will be used to write simple code in programming, like instead of like to add, update, and delete the schema like that.
Exactly. All your points are valid. So, but
Development
before
time will be less.
that is one of a interesting point. How developing time is less is. So let me give a, I mean, whenever you're learning any kind of a technology, the best way is what is the motto of that one? Simple here. Let us say before this ORM tools, all those things introduced, we are having a database tables we are having. So if I want to communicate with database tables, we are using a technology called as a before ORM. Before ORM, what we are using?
JDBC.
JDBC.
JDBC we are going to be using. So if you take a JDBC, this what JDBC will do is JDBC don't have a capability to construct your queries, all those things. You need to pass the queries. So this queries is going to be directly go and execute on your database. So that is the capability of the JDBC. You need to provide the query. That query is going to be triggered to the your database. It is going to be performing. So there is something called as that challenges you are having, transaction management challenges you are having, and we need to take care about the database dependent. So if I create a query in my JDBC program, so that JDBC program can particularly communicate with that particular database, a particular type of database only. For example, if I write a MySQL queries, it will communicate with the MySQL queries only. So here, as a Java developer, if you want to work with the JDBC, you need to get a knowledge on the database also. You need to know how to query will be worked. You need to know how to create a query. You need to know how to insert the details. So not only Java knowledge, you require a SQL knowledge also. So sometimes people is going to be making some kind of little bit struggle. So that's where our ORM tool introduced. What this ORM tool doing is, boss, you don't require any kind of a database knowledge. So what we will do is, whatever the table available in your database, I will represent that in the form of the object for you. That is meaning of a ORM, object relational mapping. So what this ORM tool is, it will represent the table in the form of the object. Now, as a Java developer, you no need to bother about the table. So what is the table structure? So what is the query I need to do? What is the join I need to do? So just as a developer, you need to perform your operation on your Java object. So whatever the operations you will perform in your Java object, those are directly associated with your database table. So now, as a developer, you no need to worry how the database is going to be performing, how the database query is going to be constructing. So whether it is a MySQL or Oracle, you no need to bother about this. So just you will perform the operation on your Java object. So this ORM tool is going to be construct your queries dynamically, and it will going to be integrated with the database. Because of this reason, it is achieving the platform independency. So that's where you are using something called as how you are going to be communicating with the multiple databases
Through
so there is ORM. Okay. For example, I want dialects. Did you remember?
Yeah, dialects.
Yes, Hibernate.
Oracle 10 dialects.
Dialects. Suppose you will just write a program only. ORM program you will write, but you no need to change every time, right? So just you will change the dialect. It will take care about the query construction dynamically. So as a developer, you are not bothering about how SQL query is going to be converting. You are just bothering about you are performing the operation on your object. This object is representation of your table. So that operation is going to be performing. That is the main purpose of the ORM there. So that's the reason we are going for the ORM. So I can, as a JDBC, I can use Java developer. If I have a knowledge on the SQL, I have a knowledge on the JDBC, I can manually construct my queries. Even if I'm having some challenges also, so then I can able to perform all the operations on my database manually. But here I want to I no need to bother about the database. I no need to bother about how the table structure, all those things. I'm going to be concentrating on my Java object. That is what ORM is telling. Hey developer, no need to bother about the database table. I'm here. You just concentrate on your Java object. You want to persist, you persist the Java object. I will take care about saving into the database. You update the Java object. I will take care about updating in the database. And that to do, query conversion also you need to bother. Suppose you don't know about all those things, you can use my criteria APIs also, Hibernate criteria API. As a pure Java developer, you will perform all your database operation through my criteria API. I will take care about this. That was telling by your ORM. Here, our Spring Data people was again want to simplify more and more. Coming to the normal ORM tool, you need to make a lot of configuration. So like you need to create the how data this persistence API is there. You need to take care about the session creation. You need to take care about all this kind of ORM entity mappers. All those things you need to take care. ORM is going to be producing it button, but with the cost of some configuration. As a developer, you need to make some configuration. Might be you started directly using the Java configuration like annotations, but before annotations, we used the XML layer. At that XML, so we need to create a Hibernate CFG.xml, lot of configuration we need to keep. Later it came to the Java configuration annotations, but even still, lot of configuration I need to take care. So here also, Spring Boot people want to reduce their button. So ORM is doing an awesome job. On top of that, let me give a sweet syntactical sugar that will actually reduce a lot of burden in the form of the auto configuration. So what's they done is Spring Data, they just given method named query. So you no need to bother about all the query implementation, all those things. Simply, you need to choose a repository. For example, you need to perform simple CRUD operation. CRUD repository we are having. Suppose if you want to perform a CRUD operation with a paging and sorting repository, yes, paging and sorting repository we are having. Suppose if you want to perform some kind of a batch operations, yes, JPA repository we are having. By picking up this repository, you can perform the operations with the minimal coding effort you can able to perform. So that's the reason. Generally, what we will consider is a Spring Data is a superset of your JPA plus Hibernate. So if you are using the Spring Data, ultimately you can work with the JPA, you can able to work with your Hibernate also. Suppose as a developer you are satisfied with the predefined functionality, there is some scenarios your Spring Data will support. There is a N1 form, N2 forms is there. That time your Spring Data will not work out. Then you need to go for the ORMs only. But Spring Data is not going to be compromising on that. So it will offer the full features to you. As a developer, if you're not satisfied, you can able to customize also. So that's the reason. Nowadays, if you take a more projects is more inclined toward the Spring Data only. That's the reason I picked the Spring Data. So now I need to represent this table in the form of the object. Now I no need to bother about the creating the table, all those things. I will just take care about my object creation, nothing but my entity. Entity is a Java object which is directly associated with your table. So that will call as a entity. Slight difference is there, dear. Pojo, Java Bean, entity. Three looks like same only, but a slight difference is there. Pojo means you are having the setters and getters, just they are like a placeholders. Pojo objects. Java Bean means a bean, a Pojo class which is controlled by some framework or something that is called as a bean. That's the reason we will call Spring Beans. We will call. Let us say component, a Spring Bean, controller, Spring Bean, service, a Spring Bean. If a same Pojo object controlled by some other framework through a IOC design pattern or something, so that is called as a bean. Coming to the entity, if your Pojo is in relation with your database, that is called as an entity. Both three are looks like same only, but a slight difference. So Pojo, which is like a placeholder, don't have any kind of a relation with any other object, which is going to be working independently, which will help you to make some kind of a structure of your data. Structured data it is going to be, you will perform through your Pojo. But the same Pojo, which is having control, the same Pojo which is controlled by some other classes or some other framework, that is called as a entity we will call. And similarly, if the same Pojo in relation with some database, so the same Pojo is integrated with some database or ORM, that is called as a entity we will call. So now if we create a entity, so that's going to be represent a database in your table. So I will do one thing. We want to communicate, we decided to develop a product inventory service. That's the reason I'm creating a table called as a product table, but I will create a product entity I will create. So let me create a class. It's better to take individual packages. I'm taking this as a model product. This is my Pojo class I'm taking. Finish. So let us first create, let me do one thing. It will bit increase my font. Oh, this header bar is not going. up. Yeah.
Window preferences
Under go to Windows preferences.
Window
Text it.
preference.
Yeah, but if this a Zoom header tag is there, it is not giving that. That's I'm clicking.
Control plus also working. Sir.
Control plus will work in a Visual Studio Code.
Yes, simple shortcut. Control plus.
That's you need to mention in a Visual Studio Code. Here, not. What happening is I'm presenting the data, right? So this Zoom header is actually blocking my view.
Control Shift plus.
Control Shift plus is working only one time.
Sir, editors. Okay.
Yes, that's fine.
I'll take a roll number.
In Zoom, you have an option to disable the floating.
But sometimes I need to, you guys are pinging chat, right? If I disable that, I cannot able to see those charts. Okay, yeah. So I just increase the font. This is sufficient. And now let me add some products entities for you. So definitely we need some kind of product ID. I will take as some product ID. So I'm taking some kind of a integer. Private integer I can take. PID I'm taking. And similarly private string product name I'm taking. Private string. What something else we can take? Product ID we are having, product name we are having. So let us say product price.
Product price.
Okay. So as because we are maintaining the inventory, so I will take
code.
Product
Quantity.
Product price double.
Quantity.
Quantity I will take. Okay. Yeah. So by the way, suppose if I take some entity, can I create entity without any default constructor?
Okay.
Do we require the default constructor mandatory for entity?
No.
Not mandatory.
Not.
Not
Mandatory.
so-
Mandatory.
As a
You
good
will
developer, we need that.
Not a good developer. If you didn't have any kind of okay, let me show that thing to you. So let us have some kind of a entity. So if you didn't mention any kind of, suppose if you are having some argument constructor, if you don't have a non-argument constructor, at a runtime, your ORM tool will throw an exception. It doesn't consisting of a non-argument constructor. Why? Because your ORM tool always use a reflection API to get the metadata of your entity, to get the information, because you are not creating the query. So your Spring data internally, it has to be communicate with your Spring bean, and it has to be get the information about which class is going to be. Component scanner has to be scan all your beans, and it will give some metadata to the IOC container. IOC container will hand out that to the JDBC container. This JDBC container is going to be use the dialect. Through the dialect, it is going to be communicated with the database. To perform this all operation, your containers internally use the reflection API. Because of that, definitely whenever you're using an entity, if you don't have any kind of argument constructor, by defaultly your Java provide the non-argument constructor. Suppose if you are having some kind of argument constructor, definitely as a developer, you need to provide a non-argument constructor also, because ORM tools internally use a reflection API. If you don't have a reflection API, your reflection API cannot able to expose any kind of a metadata of your class. That's the reason reflection API is non-argument constructor is mandatory for an entity. Currently, I didn't created any kind of a non-argument constructor. Sorry, I didn't created any kind of argument constructor. So then by defaultly, our compiler will take care. In case if you are having the argument constructor, along with the argument constructor, definitely you need to keep your this no argument
Default.
construct also you need to mention.
No
Okay,
argument.
I'll show that error also. Yes.
This price, shall we take it as double?
Price. Yeah, your choice.
The PID will be a primary key.
Not a primitive. We suppose not to take a primitive.
No. The primary key, you will use the PID as the primary key.
Right. So you want to take a primitive here?
No, long.
That's okay, dear.
Like,
not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So here I'm just taking this, and now I want to consider this PID as a primary key. So what we will do, just at
the rate ID
we will mention, and we need some kind of a generation strategy for this. So because primary key automatically I want to generate, so then
at the rate generated value
strategy.
Okay, so I will take the identity. I will take
identity.
Why? Because I require a unique. So that says identity I am taking. So save it. So now I want to generate a setters and getters. Suppose if you have a little bit knowledge on the LOM book, you don't need to generate setters and getters also. But I'm not using any LOM book. Just
quantity spelling, sir. Quantity.
So
quantity.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Suppose if you want to change any kind of a column names, you can decorate with the column. I'm okay with the same column names. It will create the columns also, product name, price, quantity. So let me generate source, generate, getters and setters, select all, generate. Okay. Save it. Yeah. So now my entity is ready. So now I need to communicate with my database and I need to create this one. So that's the reason simply. Any question here?
Yeah, there's a question there.
Table.
Are not required. So that is the beauty of your entity annotation. If you don't want to create your table name as a product, if you want to give some other product name, other table name, then you can give at a table. But automatically Spring Data, what it will do is, it will take class name as a table name.
Table product.
Okay. Yeah. So meanwhile, I will. Yeah, tell me. I'm able to hear you.
Hey, I'm asking you, how is it? I want to, if I want to check a particular product is in stock or out of stock, how is that done?
That's we need to implement in a service layer. We are just creating the representation of table only.
Oh, is it possible that you would demonstrate that for me? I struggled because I was doing a similar project, but
Yes,
I
yes.
failed to implement that.
Yes, yes.
Is
We'll
it
do that
possible?
yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm just taking this MySQL. What I will do is first I will create a database for us. So let me create database. I'm using the MySQL CLI. Suppose if you want to create through graphical interface, you can use a workbench also. It's all about your comfort because I need that hardcore developer feel. That's the reason I'm using this MySQL ID. Okay, so now I'm just going to create a database. Let me do one thing, springboot or
yeah, if you don't mind, can you please show us the how to open the CLI tool once?
Simply once you download and install the MySQL, go to search bar MySQL. If you type the MySQL, two things you will see. This is the command line client. This is the workbench. Workbench is the graphical interface. So you don't need to give the commands. Just you can right click new table. That's how you can create. If you want to deal your tables with the commands, you can use the MySQL command line client. Okay, so it will give us some ask the password. At the time of installation, what are the password you given that you need to give.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm creating the database. Suppose to create the database, I'm typing the command. Suppose I don't want to give the command, I will use the workbench. Workbench looks like this. You can connect. Here also you need to give your database password. go there. You can just create some database. This is a graphical interface. Whatever the operation you would perform here, the same operation you can perform with your command line client also. Both are same. But I'm using this command line client because I love to I want to get that essence of developer feel. So here you can just right click. So if I use a workbench, what will happen is it will give some kind of a user feeling. It will not give any kind of a developer feel. That says I'm using the MySQL, this one client. So let me create a database. Create a database. Spring Angular bootcamp I'm taking. Spring Angular bootcamp. Yes, my database is created. Let me check. Show databases. Yes, our database is created. Okay, now we want to communicate with database through our Spring Boot application. So you don't need to write any kind of steps. Like if you take a JDBC, driver manager.get connection, registering the driver, all those things you need to take. But we are using the Spring Boot with the Spring data. Simply, you need to add in application.properties. So there you can just add your application.properties. Let us add a
Spring data source.
Spring data source.
Data source URL. You can just give the URL. So MySQL URL. I think I remember JDBC.
MySQL localhost MySQL localhost localhost schema.
By default, it will run on the 3306. Your MySQL run on
3306.
Hello everyone. Please listen them. He is a more experienced person than us. Please listen them.
No need to worry on this. I only initiated them. I actually like that interactive section. No need to worry on this. Yep. So then what is the next one? Spring dot
username.
Data source dot username.
Data source.
Source dot username.
So it is not giving auto session. Okay, I will take this. So I will take a username. My username is the root, and similarly password. My password is admin. Don't tell anyone. My password is admin. Okay. Yeah. So now the second thing is what we need to configure is definitely we need to configure the driver class name. But one of the good thing is whenever you're using Spring Boot plus Spring Data will take care about automatically loading based upon your data source URL. It will take care about which class has to be loaded. So that is the optional. If you want to mention, you can mention, or if you didn't mention also, that's fine. Class name, database driver class name. If you want to mention, you can mention. Otherwise, you can neglect also. No issue. That is part of your Spring Data auto configuration. And finally, I need to mention something called as dialect. I need to mention. Why? Because which database I'm going to be communicating and whatever the operation I want to perform, the dynamic query, which database syntax has to be followed, that we need to tell to the Spring Data. So that's we can tell through our dialect. So Spring Data.
Source.
Spring Data source dot. So there is I think no. This is a JPA. Spring.jpa dot
Hibernate
database platform. So database platform. So here org dot I remember dialect hibernated dot dialect MySQL dialect. MySQL dialect. So that's it. And
I have one question.
Yeah.
Is this any possible if we not provide the password, means like anyone can see like the password is admin. Someone is asking with me, yeah, there is any other option?
There is three options there. First one is you can encrypt this password. You can encrypt this password. There is
in
some
properties file.
Yes, in a properties file, you will encrypt this one. There is one software called as a vault we are having. Why this is not open? So there is a vault software is there. So in this vault software, not this one. HashiCorp vault. So in this HashiCorp vault, generally we will going to be store our passwords as a secrets. So with this secrets, you can see in a use cases, you can able to data encryption and tokenization, database credentials rotation, so key management. So this is the one of the third-party software. With this we can do first thing. Second thing is in application or properties itself, we will encrypt that encryption key. We will keep in our server. So at the time of the connecting, server should has to be decrypt and it is going to be connect. Third one is, might be you aware or not, there is something called as, if you just open registries you are having, every Windows software having the regedit, so we can able to enter in this registry editor. If you add something in registry editor, no one cannot able to steal your password. Three options. One is by third-party software HashiCorp or registry editor, or in server itself you can able to encrypt. So you need to give us some encryption key. So based upon that encryption key, your password is going to be encrypted.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes. So yeah, so I'm connecting with the MySQL dialect. So simply what I will do is I will just start my application. So just I will check whether my table is going to be creating or not. So there run as
MySQL dialect DIA.
Link.
And database platform, it is mentioned as.
Good catch.
So mostly in real-time project, we are not we are keeping this inside the security folder of Java. So is it a good practice to do that? So
which one?
No, this configuration and all, username, password, what are the configuration we are writing inside the application.properties file. In real time, we are doing inside.
We will use the inside application or properties. That depends upon the project to project. If you are having a feasibility use third-party softwares like a licensed HashiCorp, all those things, you can use that one, or you can make into some. You are having something called as a Docker. So Docker also we are having this vault we are having in a Docker vault also. Docker secrets we are having. Through Docker secrets, we're going to be store all the passwords. At the time of a container up, we will pass. Real time means that's all depends upon the project to project here. I seen some of the projects they simply kept without encrypting also. So real time means don't think they are doing some kind of a rocket science, all those things. It's all about the efficiency, how architect will be designed. It's all about learning and doing only. So don't, that's what I'm telling. What you people will do mistake is you think real time is that is they are the gods, they're doing all those things. We are literally telling, if you go any company also, the same kind of a municipality code only they will be there. I don't need to hesitate also. I seen this some projects I seen still they're running on the struts and core Java also. If you see the code, even the dynamic code also they are going to be keeping in us static keywords like int A, int B. They don't follow any variable conventions also. That's the reason.
Yes.
No need to give a special attention for the real time, all those things. So whatever you are going to be working, let them. That's how my project is going to be using. Is there any problem with you? That's how I'm going to be developing. Ultimately, client is satisfied. If I need to implement this HashiCorp, all those things, it will take another 3 months. Client will not going to be wait for us. We followed that one, but we have a knowledge on this. If you need, we will implement it. So no need to give any special attention for real-time projects. Don't think they are the gods. Simply, whatever the things you know, they will go in with a little bit fine-grained manner. They are going to be implemented. That's it.
Sir, one small doubt, sir. Is it mandatory to write this dialect?
Yes, mandatory. Yeah. Okay. If we didn't get the mandatory, we are using ORM tool. So then how ORM will decide which database, it is going to be communicating how it has to be convert the query.
But in their latest version of Spring Boot, Spring 2,
Spring
3,
Boot 3 onwards, Spring Boot 3 onwards, based upon your JDBC URL, it is going to pick up that database platform automatically. But there also you need to define the DDL configuration manually. There is some profiler concept is there. Through that profiler you can do. But here I'm using, at the time of selecting, I specially mentioned you or downgraded.
Yes.
That's the reason I'm taking here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Understand.
All right. I want to ask, why is it you did not write MySQL dialect 5, something like that?
We'll see. Based upon, because MySQL 5, I think, yes, you are right. MySQL 5 dialect we need to write. I will do one thing. Let me start my application. Database to database, it will change. Which dialect it need? Before MySQL 8, this is a MySQL dialect. After MySQL 8, it is a MySQL 5 dialect we need.
Okay.
Okay, so it is connected. So which means we don't have any issue. We can use the MySQL 5. Let us check in our database. So use Spring Angular Bootcamp. I'm using this database I'm using. Show tables. Oh, tables is not created as of now. Okay. Why? Because we didn't give any kind of a DDL or
update Hibernate property. DDL hyphen.
DDL dot also find here. 2.7 version, right? I'm taking something called as update. I'm taking. Save it. So let me restart. Okay, so product application was selected and using the dialect of MySQL 5. That's great. And the database query is okay. So let me check. Still it is not created. So spring.jpa.hibernate.
I think instead of update, you need to create
Create, if you do, what it will do is every time if I start my service, it will always try to create a table.
First time we have to have create. First time we can keep it, then next time.
No need to.
And if your table is not there, if you keep update, automatically it will create. No issue on that. So I think DDL auto update I will keep. Okay, the thing is we just created this product.java. Entity is there, ID, generation strategy, that's fine. Initialization was still not happen. That's okay. So we just created the entity, but we didn't initialize it. How we can initialize this? So we can make sure through a repository. So we're going to be create some repository. Through this repository, we can initialize.
Sure.
So any question here?
Yes, sir. We need to first create repository interface.
Yeah. So then it is going to be initiated.
Yeah.
So I will create a new package. Because best practices, you need to create a packages. I'm taking as a DAO. So in this DAO, I will create an interface. Product repository. Okay. So we are having the 3 repositories: JPA repository, CRUD repository, paging and sorting repository. Currently, I'm just going with the CRUD repository. So that CRUD repository is a interface.
Extends.
So how you can make a relation between the 2 interfaces, extends or implements?
Extends.
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 CRUD repository. So you can see this is the CRUD repository, and we need to give the T means that entity name. My entity name is the product. and primary key is the integer. That's it. So that's sufficient as of now. And I'm
Yes,
just
correct.
starting. If we need any other implementation, we are going to be seen after implementing service. Okay, it's up and running. So let me check. Meanwhile, MySQL 3306 Angular Bootcamp, the same database only we are using. Oh, it's still not created any table. Something we missed.
You're not given any driver class name, right?
Driver class name is optional. So whenever you're using a Springboot, it's optional. Suppose if you want to, you can give also spring dot data source dot driver class name. So I think DDL hyphen auto. So driver class name is com dot MySQL JDBC driver. Restart.
CJ dot.
It's CJ dot. It's a different.
That's okay. See what they are telling is it actually deprecated. The new driver class name is MySQL CJ, but that's okay. This is also works, not a problem.
Okay.
And here error executing a DDL command. So see, this is loading automatically. That's the reason it is giving it is telling also, boss, I'm taking care about automatically. The driver is automatically registered via SPI manual. So driver class is generally unnecessary. Springboot itself telling, boss, it is unnecessary. You don't need to bother. You don't need to keep. So just you can remove this one, save it. Here, what the error actually we get is unable to create a table product. Basically, we are doing a mistake is DDL hyphen auto we need to keep here, not dot. Unable to create table. Okay. It is actually following. See, one debugging point I will tell you. If you found something which is representing type is equal to myism means that is definitely issue with the dialect here. This is one of the thing. So it is actually creating the table, but it is unable to come with the myism. Myism is actually a database query, database version. Suppose if you open your MySQL workbench, I'm using MySQL version server status. I'm using MySQL version 8.0.26. From 8.0.26, we need to use the MySQL dialect 5. Why? Because so from MySQL 8 after 8 onwards, it is not using the myism protocol. It is using InnoDB protocol, I think. So that where you can see is you can go to the there is something called as database, not this one. Edit, and here you're having the preferences you are having. In this preferences, modeling defaults MySQL, you can see this is using something called as the InnoDB. Model table defaults is the InnoDB. So either you can change to the myism, or if you want to default to leave, you can leave. I'm leaving the InnoDB. So that is what it is telling. Basically, our MySQL is running on an InnoDB, but we seen here myism. It is using the myism. Then you can do one thing. You can change your dialect. MySQL 5 you can change. Then MySQL 5 will use the InnoDB protocol. So I'm just restarting.
We also define in our URL like
URL, you don't have anything right to define. JDBC MySQL only. There is nothing like
after bootcamp we can like database version InnoDB. That's the thing.
That you can mention, but the problem here is that will not take your query upgradation. Whenever you're using some kind of a criteria API, there again you need to define this one.
Okay.
Yeah, so application is started successfully. Now we don't have any issue. Let us go to the database. Yes, our product is table is created. So let us check, is it have all our APIs or not? Describe product. Describe product. Spelling mistake.
DES.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Just only DES. No, no. Just
Product name is wrong. Yeah,
describe product. DES for the Oracle there. MySQL describe.
Product wrong.
It's DS. DS.
Product name is wrong.
Product.
They use it. Yeah.
Okay. So now we have a PID, auto increment, P name, price, quantity. So all the fields is created. So it is a primary key is the product ID. Yes, our database is ready. Our Spring Boot entity mapping is ready. Now we need to take care about our service integration, controller integration. So I can take the service, and through service I can able to perform my operation, business operation, and I can expose that through my controller. So there what I will do is, let me create some service layer. New package dot service I'm going to be taking. Let us create a class product service I'm taking. Generally, the best approach is try to create interface first, then provide the implementation. But I don't want that much time. So that's I'm taking the directly class I'm taking service. So here what I will do is I will make something called as, first I need to auto-ware my repository. Product repository. Your repo I'm taking. Let me auto-wire. Okay. So now first let us, yeah.
Wait.
Hello, sir. I'm sorry. I want to ask, sorry for diverting a little bit. How do you find the total of a particular product?
How we find?
The total of a particular product. Say you've got different products. You've got product A, product B. How do you find the total of product B?
Total of product B, what it mean? The total number of product or?
Particular, say we have got different products in our database. We don't have one product. We've got different products, but I want to find the total of a particular product. Is it making sense?
That's where we are maintaining the quantity column, right? In a quantity column, you will get that, suppose electronics products 20, garment products 20.
Are you in a position just to show us that as we go?
So for that you need to wait. At least we need to develop an API. Once you inserted the data, so then we'll get some context how we can able to work on this. As of now, we are just in a skeleton only we created.
All right. Maybe I would love to see it in action. Is it okay?
Yes. Okay, so I'm just auto-waring the product repository. So let me create a one method which will return the list of products. I'm just taking the public. Return type is the list of products I want to return. List of product. So here what I will do is find all I will take. I'm just making in sync with the repository. Return PR repo dot. There is a method called as a find all method. We need to just typecast. Actually, it will return a iterator. I will just typecast to the list. That's it. Okay. Why? Because you can see in a product repository, automatically all the methods is implemented. So in a CRUD repository, you are having the save method is there, save all, find by ID, exist by ID, find all these methods already implemented. That is the beauty of a Spring data. So I want to find a particular product. So then simply, can I take a public particular product details I want? Product find by
ID.
You want to go which manner? You want to find a product by ID or product by name?
Name.
Choose one thing. Based upon that, I will implement.
Product by name.
Product by name.
Product by name. ID, sir.
Okay.
2 times by.
The by can 2 times.
By is 2 times.
That's okay, no problem. So what you can do is, first we need to implement that named query in our repository. So the thing is, named query, how you can do is, first it will take some prefix. Either you can keep something called as a find or get, your choice, whatever you think. You can take some prefix. I'm just taking something called as find. I'm taking. You can even keep something called as a get also. And a relation is represented by the by. So in Spring Data, suppose if I want to construct a query, so now I want to get a product based upon the name. Generally, what is the query? Select star from product where name is equal to something you will give. So this query, how you can convert as a method query is, so this select star everything is represented by some prefix. Some prefix. Either you can keep the get or find, your choice. You can keep something. So this where condition is represented by the by. That means get by or find by. So by means where in a SQL query. Okay. After that, whatever the column name you are giving, that associated entity property name you need to give. So where name is a column name in a database, but coming to our entity, that is a P name. So there, what you need to do is, in your repository, find by P name. You need to mention like this, find by P name. So this P name is nothing but your column name. Okay, so you don't need to provide any implementation. Simply, it's an abstract method. The internal implementation was taken care by the Spring Data will take care. Okay, now I'm just making it as a public. A return type is your choice. If you want to return, or you can take your choice. What I will do is, I will return optional. I will take, because I want to handle null pointer exception also. Optional I will take java.util product, because I will search a product, maybe that product available or not. So that's the reason I'm taking the optional I'm taking. So here, what I will do is return product repo
Second.
dot find by P name. Actually, find by P name will return what it will do. It will return optional, but basically we are expecting the product. So the significant way is, as because this is a stream API, so just you can do one thing. So find by name dot, you can, or else throw. Here I will write as a general exception. I will throw new runtime exception. Product not found, or you can create some your custom exception also, your choice. So this is what I'm doing, because find by P name will return an optional. If it is a product name is there, return the product. Otherwise, throw an exception, product not found. So I am taking some string name, that is nothing but a P name. I will take the same P name. I will pass to my repository also. String P name. That's I'm going to be passing here. That's it. Okay, so if it is a product is there, it will return the product. Otherwise, it will throw a runtime exception. And now we need to insert the product. To insert the product, simply we will take a public, whatever the product you inserted, the same product I want to return. Save product. return PR repo, product repo dot save method is there. Whatever the entity you will pass, that I'm going to be saving. Product P. I'm going to be saving this one. You got it? I'm inserting the product. Similarly, I'm updating the product. Let me update the product. For update product, run repository will not give any other approach. So that's what I will do is first I need to find the product. So how can I find the product? I want to update based upon the product ID I want to update, and I need to give whatever the details you want to pass, the details I want to give. So I'm taking the int PID and product I'm going to be expecting. Following me, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So here
Yes,
first
sir.
I need to find the product. So to find the product, what I will do is I will first do this one, product to find all, or product repo, or repo dot find by ID we are having. So I can pass the PID. It will return an optional if it is not found.
Sir,
it should be find by PI.
Find by ID. Not. Or else. New runtime exception. With the ID. This I'm just going to be passing. Okay, so that's I'm going to be storing in a product. So this is the existing product. Existing product. So now here I will just do some kind of a logic, but generally you can use the directly API also, but I will follow a layman approach I will follow. So here what I will do is if existing product not equal to, double check I'm keeping, null, or anyway you're throwing exception. If something is went wrong here itself, it will be terminated. So then we don't require this one. So I will simply do one thing. If PR dot get name not equal to null, suppose if you decided to update the product name, I will make existing product dot set p name your PR dot get p name. And similarly, if PR dot get price not equal to null, existing dot set price PR dot get price. That's it. Okay. Product name, product price. Suppose if you decided to update the quantity, existing PR dot get quantity not equal to null, then I'm going to be adding existing set quantity PR dot get quantity. That's it. Okay. Finally, I need to save the updated product. So then product repo dot save existing product. That's it. And let me return this existing product. I will directly return because I need a updated product. That's I'm going to return.
Sir, if we have a sort of parameters, can we write the native query also for this?
You can write the native query here, no issue. But we don't need that much here, right? Because we need to utilize that time a little bit. Already it is at 10:30. That's the reason.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So updating the product is done. And finally, we need to implement the retrieving product is done. Updating product is done.
Deleting product.
Creating is done. Now we need to delete the product. So in the interest of the time, I will just return the string. I am not going to be implementing any kind of a custom object, nothing. So delete. Product. So simply what I will do is, so to delete a product, definitely I need a ID. I'm taking the int PID. So what I will do is the same implementation I will do. First of all, your product is there, then I'm going to be first searching. Product is there, then I'm going to be delete. Otherwise, I will delete. So your repo dot delete by ID. PID I'm going to be taking. Okay. Finally, return product deleted. Yes. Service layer is ready. We created a service layer. So we implemented all updating, creating, deleting, everything is done. And now we need to implement our controller layer. So let us quickly create a package for this. New package controller. So new class. Can I keep a product controller? Product controller. Product controller. Finish. Okay. So should I annotate with the rest controller or controller?
At the rate controller.
Rest controller.
At the rest controller.
Rest controller.
Why? Because if I take a controller.
Because we are working with the RESTful web services.
Wait. Because REST controller will return the response also.
So when you want to go for the monolithic application, if you want to develop your own view, tight couple your controller with a view like a prefixes and suffixes, then you need to go for the controller, because controller don't have a response body. It will depending upon the view resolver. Through view resolver, it is going to be written. Now I'm using a UI is a Angular. So I need to export this data. Angular going to be consuming, because my UI is independent, backend is independent. In this scenario, I need to expose my data. Before that, I took an approach called as a microservice approach. The first characteristic of the microservice is the interoperability. It should has to be communicate irrespective of the system, irrespective of the platform, irrespective of the framework. It has to be expose the data to the third party. So that's the reason I'm taking the REST controller. I'm going to be taking. Okay. So in this REST controller, I'm just taking a public. You can create your stuff. So let us do one thing: public list product.
Inject product service.
Yeah. So just you can take a find all or get all products. So that's I already service layer is implemented. So let me do
all
one
the
thing.
service.
Product service. I'm just taking the PS. I'm auto wiring. So simply return PS dot find all. That's it. Okay. So let me give a get mapping or put mapping or post mapping.
Get mapping.
Get mapping. So I'm just taking the products I will take. Public. Give a product. Find by name. Return PS dot find by name. Okay. So here I will take a string name as argument. Name I will pass. So at
the get mapping.
Get mapping.
Path variable.
Products.
Name.
Path variable.
Curly brace.
Where is the path variable?
Path variable.
Path
So
variable.
this we need to keep
Curly
it.
braces.
Curly brace.
Okay. And public product update product.
Sir, how can we take response entity as return type in for methods?
It automatically return, right? So when you has the get mapping, so I'm not taking any response entity like that.
Instead of product, how can we take response entity and how can we use in these methods?
You can simply mention like this: response entity. Sorry. A response entity of your product. So here what you can do is return new response entity. So this new response entity, actually we need to return two things. First one is the body and HTTP status. So body is the same thing, and the status you can mention HTTP status dot. Okay, I'm going to be keeping. Okay. So this way you can keep. Okay, you can keep same for here also. So if you want here also you can keep the same response entity. I can keep here updating the product. To update the product, I needed two things. First one is the product ID and the product details I need. Product PR. So this I'm taking the put mapping I'm going to be taking. So put mapping, I will take some update. So I need both ID I will pass as a path variable, and this I will pass as a request mapping. Path variable, and I will pass this
body.
Request body, not a response body.
Initially we need to add products, right? In the real time, normally data will be blank in the database.
Yes, I mean, yeah, anyway, after we are doing that one only.
Okay.
So return new response entity. We can take this in a response entity. Product service dot update product. Product ID is there. And here, what is the status code? Best status code created, which means 201 it will give. Because put mapping mean updating, right? Which means new data will be created. So that's where, and similarly, let me add the same thing.
Data post map.
Public response entity product.
So the name, create product.
Okay. Create
No,
product.
the second one, the put one.
Put one.
Yeah,
No,
put is
right.
put
It's
is
right.
put is create and post is update. No.
Post is create, put is update.
Okay.
Post mapping.
Mapping. So for a post mapping, I will just make save product something I will give, and here product here I will pass
Request body.
Request body.
Return new response entity product service dot save product, and the status code is HTTP.
Okay.
Create.
Okay, great.
This one. Okay. So we have a mapping for all products. We have a getting the products and things, save, and finally we miss it for
Delete mapping.
Delete mapping. Public, I'll just return a string. That also, if you want to take a response entity, you can take a response entity. delete the product,
ID.
delete mapping. So path variable I'm taking.
So can you just take one more example for patch mapping? Because we find it a little bit difficult.
No, dear. So this at this moment I can't. If you really need, so generally we are having a new batch is going on there. So there we can discuss.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Response entity. We have started delete the product. PID I will take. In
Path variable.
PID. Path variable.
Status.
Okay. Okay. So slight modification I need to do because this is done. Okay. Products. Let us just glance look. Returning the products. Product based upon the name, and you given the name here. Path variable. Great. And save request body. Okay. And update PID. Okay. And delete PID. Okay. Makes sense. Our API is ready and our service is ready. Our backend API is ready. So let me restart our application. Great. We don't have any issue as of now. So even if I select start from products, currently we don't have anything. Products.
Sir, our table name
Only
is different.
products, sir. Products, sir.
Only
Only products.
Product.
Only products.
Only product, sir.
Product. Okay. So currently we don't have anything.
Yes. Now
Empty result set. So now we'll use the postman. To the postman.
we can
Localhost. By default, it will take a 8080 port number, springboot, embedded Tomcat. So first we need to create a product. So to create a product, we are having an endpoint called as save.
save.
So localhost 8080 save and post to
Body.
mapping in a request body raw text JSON.
JSON.
So yeah. So let me insert a product ID. One I'm going to be keeping and a product name.
Product ID is automatically taken as
Auto generated, right? Okay, we can leave. And what is the second thing? If we give also no problem. Product name, price, quantity.
And quantity.
Price we need to give and price. Quantity. Quantity. Okay. So let us say product name. Some product name, dear. Suggest some product name.
Mobile.
Okay.
Smartphone.
Price
5,000.
10,000.
Okay.
Quantity 10. Yeah.
10 I'm going to be taking. Okay. So let me post it. So it is inserted. So let us check in your database. One record is inserted. Okay. So basically this product is optional because auto incrementation will be happen. So let me insert some another data also like a mobile.
Samsung mobile.
Let us insert some
book.
I'm inserting. So price is some 500.
So
So
quantity
50 we are having. Post we are having the book. So
yeah,
book is
PID.
so let us check, try to get all the records. To get all the records, we are having a products. This is going to be written all the records to you. Suppose if you want to get a only single product slash, you need to give a name.
Name.
But the thing is, prod cut. We made a spelling mistake. Prod cuts. Okay. Prod cuts. And name. Let us say I'm giving something called as
book.
Well, product we got, and similarly book, that particular book product we got. Okay, so our API is ready. So let us try to check with the put mapping also in a put mapping. So let us say book quantity I want to update. So I don't want to update only quantity. It's not a 50. I need to update to the 20 books was sold, 30 we are having. So I need to give a ID. My product ID is a 2. That's what, right? In a put mapping, we are taking the two things. Product ID and a request body, we are taking the product ID.
Sir,
we need to update.
The URL should be update. So URL should be product.
Update. So this update I'm giving.
We remove the book.
Okay. So quantity, it is updated. Now you can see quantity is a 30. So let me check products. Or directly we can. Sorry. Earlier 50.
The status code of the
status code you can see here. 201 created. That we are returning, right?
Okay.
Suppose if you see for this returning the product, I'm returning the OK. OK means status code is just 200. So you can see product / mobile. This is a get mapping. The status code is 200. Okay. Okay, so our API is working properly, and if you want to check the delete also, you can check the delete. That's it. So now our backend API is ready. So this part is done. So this part is done, which means processing is done, persisting is done. And now we need to take care about the
Angular
presentation, nothing but Angular. So Angular, already we developed the project. So let us move to that product inventory. So I'm using the Visual Studio Code. So meanwhile, let me start the project. ng sir. Now I need the Angular people involvement. Vamshi, Kaushala is there.
So now it will run on
Okay.
by default server.
So instead of just developing, boring UIs, we'll try to add some styling also. So meanwhile, let us start this one. Yeah, application is started. So what is the default port number?
4200.
4200.
Okay, so now let me remove this one. App component.ts. We need app component.html. I don't require all those things. I'm saving. So here what I will do is I will just first I will prepare some kind of a header component. So go to terminal. What is the command? ng generate component. Header I'm just going to be keeping. That's it. And in a header component, let us go to the header component. In a header component.html. So let us give us some beautiful header for us. So I will do one thing like HTML5. So that is the beauty of Visual Studio Code. You can just type the HTML. It will automatically add that skeleton. So here I need to develop some kind of a header. So that's where what I will do is header navigation I'm going to be taking. In this header navigation, let's keep this into a, because this is a component.
Yes, sir.
I will keep into a body itself. header. So in this header, I will just add some kind of a navigation. I will add some navigation I'm going to be adding. So what I will add a navigation is simply, I will do one thing. In a first navigation, I will list out all the products. If you want to create a product, so I will give another navigation. There you can click the create a product. You can create a new product. So first navigation, I will list out all the products. Second navigation, I will allow you to create a product. So simply I will take some user list. I will take in this user list. One is just let us say this is the home. Home is nothing but list of the products. And the second one is create product. Two navigations I'm just taking. Okay. So now let me attach this in our app component.html. So here I'm going to be attaching. So obviously app slash header will be our selector. So app hyphen header. This you need to give in your app component.html. That's it. So now if I just come here, now see, I got my home and a product. It's a little bit boring. What I will do is I will add some styles which will actually help us to understand a little bit more. Or if you want to write everything in a same file also, that's your choice. If you want to make, you can make. So I will do one thing. Instead of, I will go simple approach. I don't want to make any more complex. App component, I will keep like this. So there here itself, I'm going to be list out all the values. So then I'm going to be move this to the header component. So once I would develop my design my plate, then I'm going to be moving that one. So here I will add some routes, all those things also. So now I need another component, ng generate component product list component. Okay, so control P product list component.ts. So there I need to communicate with the backend. I need to retrieve the data. So that's the reason I'm taking the HTTP service. It's better to create a service also in a here.
Yes.
So there I will take a ng generate service product service I will create. So okay, control V product service.ts. So in this constructor, what we will do is I need to import two modules app.module.ts. Definitely to insert the product, I need a forms module. Let me quickly insert those forms module.
Forms module.
Forms module as well as I need
Forms.
HTTP client module also because I need to communicate with the backend program. Client module, it is not giving auto suggestion. Okay, let me import that manually. Import HTTP client module from at angular / HTTP common / HTTP. That's done. And let me check, is there any error? Is there? Yeah, imported successfully. So now I need to get that HTTP client in my service. So here what I will do is in a constructor. HTTP client, I will keep, let us say, taking a variable as a HTTP. Okay, and there I will write as some product. So public, I want to get all products.
Get all
So here simply what I will do is return this dot
current
HTTP dot get method, which will return, which should be return.
Yes, this.
HTTP localhost 8080 products.
Save. Find.
Okay, first we'll consume this one. So,
So
then we are
the
going to
po-
be insert all
yeah,
those.
here port will be always static, right? But then if
8080.
they means in the real time also they have to keep it 8080. If they change it, then everything will be stopped.
So that's the reason what we will do is, so these URLs we will maintain as a properties that I will maintain in a environments. Here you can see environment properties is there.
Right.
In this environment properties will
then it will be dynamic.
Yes.
Okay.
So yep, so we are dealing and coming to the product list component. In product list component, so let me take a private product service product. Okay. So I want to load at the time of the loading itself. So then what I will do is this dot product service dot get all products, which will return a observable. So to get the any data from the observable, you need to subscribe the data. So which will return some data to you. So that data you let me take some temporary variable. I'm taking some products list. Better to create some interface instead of going with this manner. It's always better to create an interface. For that interface, you can map. I will do one thing. I'll just implement like this because it's a list of products. This dot product list is equal to data. What are the data I got? That's I'm just going to be giving. I'll keep any. Okay. So this product list, what I will do is I will first let me take some console.log whether it is going to be returning or not. So let us come here in our application, inspect console. Okay, product component is there. As of now, we didn't attach it this one. That's the reason it is not doing. So what I will do is in our app component.html, I'm going to be loading this product list component.ts. So their product list selector is this one. Okay. So I will just do one thing. Let me take some header. Products, I will just mention. So this product list, save it, come here. Product list works, great. So now go to a product list component.ts. There you are having your product list. So in this product list component.html, we can add product list. Okay, that expected. Basically, when a cross origin error, Either you can avoid this cross origin from your API end, or you can deal with your browser opening in a unsecure manner. You can do one thing.
Cross origin means handshaking.
Cross origin means, yeah, it's a kind of a handshaking. So basically, whenever any request is coming to your API, what Spring Boot will check is, it will check is it coming from the same protocol or not. So that host name as well as port name should be same, then only the data will be exchanged. That is called as the origin. Basically, origin is schema plus host plus port. This is the origin. So schema means might be HTTP or HTTPS. HTTP or HTTPS plus host might be local host or some IP address that you can take. And the port might be 80808084. So whenever data exchange is going to be happening between the two applications, in general, applications is going to be checked whether is my origin same origin is or not. That is a policy followed by the backend servers by defaultly, same origin policy. If you're sending a request means, if you are belonging to my origin only, then I'm going to be share the data.
And this logic will be handled in the Angular side or
Spring Boot said we need to handle. Spring Boot said we need to handle. So there is a two ways you can handle. Either you can add, for example, here what happened is my Spring Boot application is running on a 8080. Angular is running on localhost 4200. So which means your origin is changed, right? Spring Boot is running on 8080. Your Angular is running on 4200.
Please, can you go on mute, please? Yeah, please go ahead.
So localhost 4200. So your schema is your port number is changed. So which means origin is changed. So then as a safe side, your Spring Boot application, what it will do is it will block, it will not give the data. So now we need to tell to the Spring Boot boss, this URL I know this is our application only, add into a whitelist so that you can deal with either Spring Boot side, or you can deal something called as the reverse proxy concept. Is it the reverse proxy concept also you can do, or there is another thing is you can open your browser in a something called as a web security disabled mode. That is also fine. So I will do one thing. Let me disable that cross origin at cross origin.
Can you show the which type of code we are writing in our Spring Boot? If we are not right now, we are not disabling, but we have to write the code for
mention cross origin at class levels.
So that's what I'm going to be
Below
showing
the
now
roster
here.
control.
Okay.
So to disable this cross origin, just it's not that much a great code you don't need to write. So simply you need to mention at the cross origin. So there is annotation is there. So there is a few annotations which will actually help you to add your cross origin. So you can just simply do one thing, get mapping, or you can disable at a controller level also, that your choice. I think it's better to create some configuration wise. Configuration wise, if I make this one. Cross origin. So you can mention that a particular host name. If you know this particular host name only, then you can make a origins. So you can give a list of strings you can give here. So HTTP local host 4200. This is the one way. Or if you want to blindly give, you can just simply origins star dot star also, which means you are allowing everyone. Save it. So let me restart. Okay, so same thing, let me reload. now I'm able local host, no access control allow origin. So we are going to be calling, let us go to the network. In a network, we are going to be calling products 8080 products. Let me check if it is going to be giving properly or not. Copy the URL I'm checking. Okay, it is giving the data. So cross origin. Okay, now we got it. But the thing is, it is actually object. It is actually written the two products, but it's giving an object format.
So I think toString method is not taking project class.
Not a toasting, nothing. So basically, whenever you are going to be consuming any kind of a service, you didn't mention any strong data type there. Product list is just any. Okay. So there, what you can do is, one approach is you can make something called as one interface. Through that interface, you can able to do this one. So let me create an interface.
You can use the for loop also, no? For get the product list.
This is a list now, sir.
So we can
This
use
is
the
not
for loop.
product list dot value. You can use that.
We can use the for loop and we can iterate. But in the future,
can
if you want
find
to
ng for.
post the data, if you want to post the data, again you need to write all those things. That is also one approach. You can just simply go to here. Let us take some user list. I'm going to be taking.
Yeah, user list and
ng for.
Product list. So your product list. This is the one object dot whatever it is returning, you need to take that one. So PID, PName, class, that's things. So
product list ng for
let
okay. So you can see list of products you can get. But the thing is, in a future, if you want to insert the data, again, you need to do the manually. The best approach is you will create an interface. Through that interface, you are going to be pass the data. That is the best approach.
Harshvardhan, how this Angular came to know that the data is exposed from the Spring side? Spring side, we expose all these APIs. How Angular came to know that?
So we consuming here, right? So in a product service, we are sending the GET request.
Okay. This is we are okay. We are configuring means here statically will like this host particular service should all the time it should run. Then it will work.
Yes.
Because when this service is stopped from the Spring side, it will not work, right?
If it is changed, then again you need to change here.
And Tomcat and all, it should all the time it should run and up and running.
Obviously, because that is meaning of a backend purpose, right?
Correct.
If a backend is not running, how can I get a data? So our
And right, and Angular is running on different port.
4200.
Okay.
Can you do security?
Sorry?
Oh, can you add security stuff here? You might security.
Security. That's what I told. Right? It's on the interest of the time, I'm not sure. So I will upload into a GitHub, so then you can check that. So we are getting all products. Then similarly, let us try. Instead of giving this a boring UI, I will do one thing. Let me show in some table format, in a neat table format, so then you can see this one. Let me add some CSS for you. In product list component. You can go to your app component.html. So product list are going to be getting this one. Let us add some.
Can you please tell me what is interceptors?
What is interceptors in Angular?
So suppose whenever you are sending a request to the backend, you need to add some headers, or if you want to do some kind of a propagation on your HTTP operations, instead of writing that code every time, you will develop an interface. The best example is whenever you are using something called the OAuth 2 authentication, every request I need to intercept, I need to add a token. There we'll use the interceptors. Interceptor is a kind of a filters.
Yes.
So I'll do one thing. So simply I will take some kind of a table format here. Let us take some table, or I'll do something other thing also.
Harshvardhan, Angular is having any feature like which offline sync, because if service is down or internet is down, so offline data is stored somewhere, and when it will be up, that time it will insert the record, it will insert the product, get the product. That
That's
feature
where progressive web applications will come here. That's all along a different story.
This is Angular is not supporting that.
Angular will support. You need to use some kind of a third-party libraries.
Okay, third-party libraries. Okay, got it. Thank you.
So here, let us go to our app component.html, and we have this one. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me add a simple CSS file for us. I will add some class for this class. Let us say main header. I will add navigation also. Let me add some class. Main header nav.
ଟିକେଟ ନାହିଁ ଯଦି କୋଉଠି ତତ୍କାଳ ଫତ୍କାଳ ମିଳିଗଲା
Guys, could you please go on mute? So main header nav I'm taking. Okay, suppose if you want to let's safe side, I'm taking some class for user list also. Main header, let us say this is item list. I will take list also. Better to take some class. Main header, I will take this as a item, just item. Because list everything I want to apply the same style that I'm going to be maintained here. That's it. So do one thing, list, and these are the route. I want to add some router. Meanwhile, I will let me do one thing. I will add some header. Just I will take some anchor tag for this. href, and similarly I will take some anchor tag here also, some href. That's it. And now how this thing. Okay, so you can see this one. Navigation means should be display vertical. So let me go to our CSS file. Okay, what are the classes I took? Main header, item list. Okay, so I will do one thing. So I do have first I need to apply some header tag. So then I need to apply some kind of a list tag. Okay, let me do one thing. Main header. So let us take some kind of a width time take. So generally 100% of width we will take. So then height I will take. So let us say 50 pixel is sufficient for me. And some kind of a background color, I think it's better. Some background color. It's always better to take a RGB manner. So 218 something I will give like a 167, 218, 167. I don't remember. I'm just giving random numbers. I don't know what color it will populate also. I just given the random numbers. Some color it, okay. Not bad. Some color it given. Main, this is the class dot you need to keep. Yeah, so we got a header. So I don't want to display those things like that. Let me add some padding. Some padding I will add, and peak 0 clockwise. So left, then top I need a 1.5 rem I will take. That's sufficient. Yeah, padding is sufficient. Now let me add this nav bar, main header nav bar styling I will do. So height same 100% I will take. And display, I want to display everything both in side by side. So there is a flex we are having. Through flex you can display side by side like this. Main header nav. It should be display flex. And center. Something is messy. Main header now display flex. Okay, header now will display flex. Now we need to assign this also flex. Item list also we need to keep a flex, then automatically it will going to be side by side, it will come. So same display high flex center I will take. Same I will apply here also. So yeah, both display, but the thing is one-on-one. I will do one thing. One list is overlapped on another list. Let me simply give. I will go for the margin. Left side is the 0. Okay, I will just go to some 20 pixel margin I will give. Let me do one thing. Margin 0. 20 pixel. 30 pixel is more, makes sense. Okay. That's it. Because these are the lists, this dot is displaying, so we can remove these dots also. For that, removing dots, you can just make some like this. In main header item, if I'm having some anchor tag, text decoration, none I will keep. And let us make some color also. Simply I will take a white color, white I will take. And similarly, that's it. Yeah. So home we are having this one. Okay, our navigation is done. And let us add some quick styling for your product list header also. Let me add some class for your header. So this header, what I will do is for this header, let me add some class header. product header I will take. Product header. So for this product header, simply what I will do is I will just display in middle of our page, so that will sufficient for us. Same color I will take. We took some random color right earlier. The same RGB I will take, because should be in a sync header with product is sync. Color, this one I will take, and let me align to a margin auto I will make. Text align center I will make. Max width, because I need some margin space, 90% only I will take. Beautiful. It came to the product list middle. That's it. And now we need to convert this list into a table. Simply we'll convert into a list into a table. So let us go to our product HTML and app product list, and I will convert this into a table. So let me create a table. Some table you are going to be creating. So in this table, what you can do is table header you can take. So in your table header, so I need to iterate this thing. So to iterate this thing, what I can do is I can just take a table division. In that table division, I'm going to iterate this thing. So I will do one thing. So simply some table T or one table row. In table row, I will take a table header. Let us say one table header for the product ID and one product name. Second one is product price, product quantity. Table header I will take. This is product name, price, and as well as
quantity.
Okay. So now I'm taking the second row. In this second row, I will iterate this row. These things I will keep here. One, two, three, four. One, two, three. I'm taking some table division. So one table division for the product ID and second table division for the product name, and another table division for product price and quantity. Product price and quantity. That's it. So now just come here. So you can see we are able to display our product, all those things. So if you want to display this table in a mid, you can display that one also. So you can do one thing. Let us go to your product list.cs table tr td th border solid 1 pixel is sufficient. Okay, and in a anyway we written in app component HTML, so the same code I will keep here itself for a table. The same CSS I will keep here also. That's it. You can see all I can able to display. This one also color is a little bit awkward. Syntactical mistake. That's what. And here we mention mention. So this is the product. See, product list you are having. Suppose if you inserted a new product, it is going to be automatically loaded here. So now product list is done. Now we need to create a form which will take a product details. So for that we need to make some kind of a post call we need to make. So for a post call, what I will do is, let us go to the service in our app product service. Okay, so it's better to create some kind of interface which will exactly same to your what are the properties you are having. So in a app folder, a new file I'm going to be creating, assume product.ts. So this is the interface product I'm going to be taking. So with this interface, like how you created all those things like a class, similarly class, all those things, I'm going to be using this interface. Let me export this interface also. So simply I don't require anything. So just I need a one product ID that should be matched with this here. Whatever the properties are having, because whatever the object you will pass through this interface, it is going to be converted as a JSON that is going to be posted to your backend. So simply I will take these things only. So product ID. So this is the number format I will take, and the product name is another property. Product name is what kind? String, and price. That's also number, because in a TypeScript we don't have a decimal, all those things, both are numbers only. Quantity is also number. That's it. Okay. So now in a product service, so let us do one thing. Public save product, which will take product. The data type is the product interface. So here return this dot http dot post method. So this post method will take two things here. First one is the URL. Second one is the HTTP header, and or something called as a body. So whatever the body you want to pass, you can pass the body. So simply what I will do is post. The URL I will keep here. What is the URL for the posting? Save. So HTTP 8080. This is save URL you can take, comma, what are the product you will pass, that product you are going to be saving. Now we'll develop a component, ng generate component. product form or product save. That's your choice. I will develop a product form there. I'm going to be keeping. So product form component I'm having. In this product form component, I want to create a forms module. Could you please help me? How can I create a form? How many types of forms in Angular? My dear Angular students, template driven and
Reactive form.
Reactive forms. So currently I'm taking the just template driven forms. I'm not going to be taking any reactive forms. Such a template driven forms is sufficient for us. So that's what I will do is I will take a
reactive approach.
React approach we don't require here. I'm going for the simple template driven form. So form I'm going to be taking. So here let us take a input type is equal to number I'm going to be taking. So there I will take something called as PID, and I can just mention ng model. Name equal to PID and ng model I'm going to be taking, and similarly for product name, basically you don't require the product ID, right? Automatically it will create from the backend. Let us remove from the interface also. Product ID is not required. Price and the quantity is sufficient for us. So here I have a ng model. So this is for form. So let us give us some little bit styling touch. I'm taking some div. So in this div, this is for one product, one field. This is for another div. Later we will add a labels, then it is going to be a little bit proper approach. So here I'm taking some input type is equal to text. I want to take this for a name is equal to okay. So P name, price, quantity. P name, price, quantity. That's sufficient. Okay, and finally we need, I'm taking another div. Input type is equal to submit. I'm going to be taking. That's it. And now let us
for pname you can make it text.
okay, so what I will do is I will
On click event.
On click is not, we need to take a on submit event we need to take, but before this in this product component you need to get the data, at least you need to see that one. So I will do one thing, app routing module.ts. So let me add the routers path. By default it's a product list component. And similarly path add component product form component. That's I'm adding. So just if I add, it will load my product list component. It is not coming. Why? Because we didn't added any kind of a router. Let us go to our app.html. I will move this one also instead of keeping product list component here. App component.html. I will remove this one. Now what I will do is router outlet. That's it. So this one add home, this one create product, we need to add /add. By defaultly product list. If you want to create product, you need to add. Okay, so there you can just simply add like this. And now product form component, product form component.html. You can just add this is for something called as a
Product name.
Product name and
Product price. Quantity.
A label.
Can add a label. So this is a label for product name. We have product name, all those things. Okay. So actually giving a little bit zigzag format, you can simply apply some styles. I will do one thing. In a form, let me add some class for this. Let us say product form I will take. In the future, I'm going to add in some kind of a class also. Better to add something called a product controller. I mean, general, that is the convention we will follow. Product form. Product form. So for this product form, just what I want to do is I will just to keep that into a middle of my page. Then I need to make everything alignment into a center or something I can mention. So max width, if I take a 90%, it will take care about remaining stuff. And margin, if I set clockwise 1 rem. Okay. Let us give a 0, 0. Now I don't require any top margin, down or right margin, but I need a left side margin. 35 rem I will give. Yeah, so 35 rem, which will come to the middle. That's it. And these things I need to keep in a model. So form controller I will take, because this I took form controller. Divs I'm going to keep here. Simply I will add a max width, then automatically it will take care. Form controller. Margin same I will take. Form controller margin 1 rem. Later it will take a 0. Okay, so this class, let me add for this div as well, for this div as well, and for this div as well. Approach system. Okay, that's it. And I want to apply some specific length for this input. Anyway, we took a product controller, a div is in a product controller. In this product controller div input mention display block, I will display. Yeah, display block. Everything is separate. Let me, if you want to give some kind of a border that you can choice, let me sync with our header. So now app component.cs, I will take this color. I'm making sync with our header. Border color I will take. And font, everything is the same. Let us take a border radius, I will take. Let us take a border radius of a 2 pixel, I will take. If I take a border radius, I need to give the type of the border also. Solid 1 pixel I will give. Okay. So this is my product form. And if you want to give some kind of a width, you can give the width also little bit increasing. With 30 pixel I am going to be giving. That's it. With 30 pixel a little bit more less. This is the 30 pixel. This much is sufficient. 193 pixel. I will give a 200 pixel. 200 pixel. Okay. So this is our form, and we have all those things. And instead of just giving a boring thing, I just designed this one. That's it. And now we need to insert the data. Let us go to our product form.html. So here we need to give something called as, but before that, one thing I need to add in our app component.html. We are having this header. Here I will add something called as add. Okay, let me check. First of home is this one, create product, going to the product form. Home is list of products, create product. So now I need to collect this data. I need to save this data. So now go to our product form component, product form component.ts. There in a constructor, private product service. Product service. So here I'm just creating a method. Let us say save product is the method I'm taking. So here what we need to do is this dot product service dot save product. For this save product, I need to manually construct the data. So some data I will get. So this data type is the product. This data I will pass here dot subscribe. If it is success, I will get as some data. So this data I will just make a console.log product inserted. Or if you want to take some kind of alert, you can take alert also. I'm just displaying in a console in the account of the interest of a time. And now this method I need to call at my product form.html. So first I need to give one ID for my form. So I'm giving something called as a my form is equal to, I need to activate ng form. I'm going to be activating. I'm taking the event called as a submit save product. So this my form dot value, I'm just going to be passing. Okay. So that's I just passing inspect. I don't have any error here. This also looks good. And let us check. Currently, we are having 2 products. Let me insert the product name. Let us say I'm inserting already book is there. Some product, could you suggest?
Laptop.
Okay. Price something, quantity 5, submit. Again, we got a cross origin request. Then what we need to do? We need to go to the backend, add this cross origin star for save also. Or instead of every mapping you can do, you can directly keep in a REST controller level also.
If we are using only class level, is working or not?
If you are using
in cross origin,
okay,
in using it in class level.
If you use the class level, you no need to keep in every endpoint level. Or you can directly add in your application or properties also. Then that will apply on entire project level.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
No need to mention for every method.
Exactly. So you can just create a product. Let me take some calculator, some 500, some quantity of 5. Submit, which means product is a save. So product is a save. We supposed to get in a database. So you can check in a database. We got our calculator, right? And you can check in your home page also. All 3 products you can able to retrieve. And similarly, you can delete the product. You can update the product also. You can give some other button and you can able to delete that one also. So just same way, your HTTP client will going to be offer same way. In your product service, you can give a update product, HTTP dot put, HTTP dot delete, all those things you can give.
Hello,
this
sir.
is yes.
Sir, if you are creating like insert only one insert button, if you are means insert, if you are clicking insert button, you are inserting products, then you are update, then delete, then this type of in Angular.
Same like this one, HTTP dot get, HTTP dot post. Similarly, you can take a HTTP dot delete. So let me do one thing. For a same table, I will give a product list. Product list dot HTML. Okay, so I will add another table. Here, what I will do is I will add some button. I will add. I will add some button. Let us say I'm just adding the delete button. So I will show how you can delete. So you can just delete. You can add some kind of action, some action like a delete. So what I will do is for delete, what you need to do, you need to delete with the product ID you need, right?
Okay, sir. But I want to update product.
That same way you need to take a put call. So whatever the data you want to update, you can take a put call. So through that put call, you can able to call that one. So let me show that delete one to you. So in a product service, same way. Delete the product. Delete.
LET.
delete. I require a product ID. Product ID, what I will do is I will take as an argument some kind of number I will take. Number I will take. So this product ID I will pass here. Okay, now this product, while I'm retrieving this product where app component.html product list component.ts, here delete product. So this dot product service dot delete product, which will also return and subscribe. I will just take as some data, some console.log product deleted. Something I will just give. Okay. And
Misspelling in data.
Sorry.
Data. DE.
Data. Day after date year.
This is just a reference variable here. Then we need to pass us some value for this. What I will do is delete product PID number I will pass. This PID I will pass here. That's it. Product list.html. So here this product ID on click, you can pass this product ID. List component of delete product HTML. Can just, you need to pass product ID PID. That's it. And here, let me console. Okay. So for example, let us delete this calculator. Status is okay. Error response is done, and status is okay. So let me just refresh our page. The product is deleted. Suppose if you're expecting automatically it should be reload, I will show a trick to you. Product component.ts while delete, you can reload your this dot ng on in it. Automatically it will refresh. Yes, so now I will do one thing. I will create one product. I'm creating some kind of some charger. I'm going to be creating price is 52 and quantity is the 86. Submit and coming to the home. Now I got a charger. So now let me delete this. For example, deleting the book now. I just deleted the book. Now if I go to the home, now I don't have a book, only mobile and a charger. See? Mobile and a charger deleted. So that's how you can perform a delete operation, and similarly you can perform your update operations also. So update operation, you can take a button for update, and once you click update, you need to move a form through the form, update form. You can able to do this one. Same how create form. Similarly, you can do the update form also.
Yeah, thank you. It's
If you want
working fine. But can you please give me a recap, like in Angular, what are all changes we need to do? Just a quick overview like that.
So simply you need to create a component for a update a product. So once you create update product, the same how you created a product, creating a form. So the same form you can take in a service method. In a product service, you can create a method update product, which will take a now update product will take a two things. One is the product ID, second one is the product, and call http dot put method. Put method will take the similarly post. First one is the URL. Second one is the body. It will take that body you can pass. So then update. Similarly in your component, update component. So just you can subscribe like this in your product, like this, like a say, not this one, product list. Create a method, update product. Similarly subscribe, and you can just call that one.
Hello,
So
sir.
meanwhile, when I have a time, I'm just going to be add that. I will upload to a GitHub. Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
The sir, if I want to retrieve a specific product with product ID,
you need to develop a component and you need to send the request. The same how you're getting all the list, you can use the get method. Okay. So this is all about the integration here. I need to quickly catch up the another batch, Spring Boot batch.
Sir, can we get the GitHub URL where you will put this?
Yes, you will get ask the admin team will post this GitHub URL to your groups.
So so only we deploy the JavaScript file for Angular output when we deploy this code, right? In the real time, so only JS file will be the output for Angular.
No. While you're deploying, what you will do is you will trigger a command called as a ng build production or ng build you will do. Then it will create a dist file. In that dist folder, you are having the all TS files is going to be vulcanized into a JavaScript file. That a JavaScript file is going to be running in your server.
Only one JavaScript file.
4 JavaScript files will come: polyfills.js, runtime.js, main.js, index.js.
Sir, how to get that code?
Which code, backend or UI?
Backend.
But even though I will share the both with you. So wherever you got this URL, I mean wherever you got this meeting invitation, call that person, or if you are got this link from a group, this GitHub URL link I'm going to be posting in that group. So just allow me a couple of hours. I will upload this code into a GitHub. You will get that code.
And Harshvardhan, from Spring side, what will we need to deploy? What will be the output? That is also that will be output jar file. Here will be the JavaScript, 4 JavaScript files.
Yes.
And database file also we need to deploy, right?
Database file you will never deploy. So database file is all along a different. So database you are going to be running on different server.
So actually, one more question. Actually, sir, I don't have knowledge about that Angular. Prerequisite, please tell me.
Just a HTML, JavaScript.
Oh.
Sir, will you explain Java Angular concept in JRP student?
Sorry, Malini.
So will you explain Angular full concept in JRP by students? The real-time project students.
Your voice, I am unable to catch your voice.
1 minute. So can you hear me?
I can hear you, but a little bit up and down.
Will you explain Angular concept in JRDB batch student?
Yeah, I usually deal all the batches here. I deal the Java, J2E, Spring, Hibernate, as well as AWS also. All the batches I will do. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello.
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 Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Can you take? I'm going to have another batch on advanced concepts of Angular. For example, guards. Guards.
Yes, yes.
Angular
route guards.
And also something to do with workflows. You know workflows?
It's not. Yes, we are generally in a real-time project with the web flows, but that's a high-level concept. At this level, you don't require that web flows. So whenever you're using authentication authorization with guards, we'll use that one.
Oh, all right. I want you have a batch where you teach those things, like for example, the workflows from where 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 someone like communication between one employee to another using Angular on workflows. Do you happen to have a batch on that?
Yes, but
so can I sign up? Can I sign up for that batch?
Webflows I'm not guaranteed. Why? Because Webflows will come along with the RxJS. So generally we'll not touch that one. So based upon that time we are going to be discussed. Webflows might be we'll add that one also, no issue. Okay. Yeah. Thank you guys. I need to catch quickly.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Your new batch is when this one Spring Boot and microservices.
That's please ask the admin team. So currently I don't have any curriculum on that. Maybe next week we are going to be launching either Angular or Spring Boot.
No, they are ongoing, sir. Now.
No, I'm not. Current batches I'm not doing any Angular. Just we completed yesterday. It will take next week.
Harsha, sir, not only Angular, sir. Spring Boot, microservices, real time.
Both are different batches. Both are different batches. Spring Boot with that is actually microservices with the Spring Boot and Spring Cloud by Harsha. Angular by Harsha.
Yeah.
Those both are different. Okay.
Real time project you won't handle.
No, I will not take any real time project.